Hello, welcome to the Honest Wargamer. I'm your host Rob, and this is the Age of Sigmar Stat Center, where I look at the event results from around the world. This is normally recorded Monday morning, 11 a.m. till whatever time it takes to finish, with the chat. You can see them there, Twitch chat. And we're going to be going through all of the event results from the week from the Age of Sigmar tournaments. We're going to talk about what those lists look like, what I think that they mean, and what the overall meta is in Age of Sigmar. We are in Age of Sigmar 3.3, which is ever since the introduction of the Galette Battle Pack, which is the General's Handbook, which is going to last for 6 months. We don't know, because Games Workshop haven't told us, what the new version of that will look like in now, I guess, 5 months. Only 5 months left of this meta, so not long, which is interesting. So we haven't had loads and loads of events, but as I showed on the show last week, you can go onto the honest-wargamer.com and look at the T-Sport Stat Center stuff produced by Rob and Ziggy, and then you can see all of the current stats at the moment. Some armies looking good, some armies not looking good, but there's going to be a lot of event results in there from this weekend and last weekend, which is really going to change some of those numbers around, right? Okay, super. We look at Warhammer on this channel all the time. All the time. Right, okay, so we've got 5 events this week, and I'll try and go through them in order. So the first event that we're going to look at is the meme. If the YouTube thumbnail, which I haven't decided what it is yet, and or the title of the show has baited you in, get you baited, which is good. And we are in here looking at the Shropshire Slaughter, my friends. My good and kind friends, which was in it was at Glasshammer Gaming. No wonder you fucking camped at them. In Telford in Shropshire. Okay, so this is an Age Sigmar event with 34 players. 34 players in attendance, so 34 out of 40. Okay, so now there's something to be said for our 5-0 player. Now, I said this already on the show, but I'll say it again very quickly. Our 5-0 player, Mr. Adam Mumford, is sometimes my co-host. He was at Worlds and has been at several other events, like AOS, Six Nations, etc., for doing coverage of live stream Age of Sigmar tournaments. Now, I, 2 weeks ago, went 4-1, and I think that that's what propelled Adam to beat me. I thought I took a pretty memey list with Zinch. Adam beat me, but he didn't have loads of money to go to this event, and therefore he took a tent and he camped overnight so as to make sure he could attend his 2-day event. This is a bit of a tournament tramp story. Reminds me a lot of like ramp tramps if anyone was a skateboarder at any point. So shout out to him. He's also my son. Now, most people don't know that, but I'm Nathan Prescott's son. And then he is my son. We're very much like the Foundation series of Emperors. Nathan is Brother Dusk, I'm Brother Day, and Adam is Brother Dawn. So Adam went 5-0, right? Yes. Over 2 nights. Yeah, he slept in a tent over 2 nights to make sure that he could bring a 5-0 result to this event. And he beat in the final a wonderful other human being, Mr. Dan Arnold, who I love. No one understands that reference. Someone out there understands that reference, and it's hilarious to them. I need you to know that. So let's see what's in his list, okay? Let's see what is it. Oh, no, we're using Tabletop TO. Oh, no, it's going to be so slow. Oh, no, I've made a huge mistake. Okay, in his list is... Okay, Beasts of Chaos. Pretty classic. Now, Adam, 2 weeks ago, played a Beasts of Chaos list which had 18 Skyfires in it, and the Wildfire Taurus, which is an endless spell you can cast from Beast of Chaos, which makes you do the Always Strikes Last effect on any unit within 3 inches. So because you get full rerolls to hit and to wound on Skyfires, he was trying to create that effect. I assume he's trying to do something very similar here. With the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, with the Desecrator and Sundering Blades, which is what you need in the All Herd. All Herd, you get a command ability which allows you to do +1. You get +1. You get +1 to your summoning pool, and don't forget, Beasts of Chaos are a very, very good summoning army. They've got a new, since the White Dwarf update, a new monstrous action, which in every person's turn, they can, if they have a monster on the board, they can get an additional amount of summoning points, so they can rack up a really high summoning pool very, very early. So that's why he's got the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, because obviously that's a monster to do that. He's also got the Great British Shaman, and he's got Be'lakor. Now, Be'lakor is a control piece. Again, experienced players won't need me to say this, but I will obviously let you know again. It's got a ability Dark Mastery to shut an enemy unit down and make it so that they can't move or interact unless they roll a 3+. A 3+? A 3+, basically. So it's a very fun little inclusion. It's also a monster, and it's also a pretty fighty unit, and is also a wizard. Great for Mystic Shield. Great for a spell that it's got, which casts on 8, which is -1 to win, +1 to win, one of those two. Either +1 to wound a unit or -1 for that unit to be wounded, which is a great debuff. One of the two, I don't remember. He's then got 6 Dragon Ogres, okay, which are a great battle line unit. Great battle line unit. It's 30 wounds for 250 points. And don't forget, in this army, you are able to rally on a 4+, which is really good. He's got 2 units of 10 Ungor. Okay, then I see he's got a Cockatrice, and he's pretty famous for taking... Oh, hold on. I can see he's got... Oh, someone complained about this the other day, that they couldn't see the screen. Okay, we'll do this. There we go. You can see now, can't you? You can all see? There we go. Yes. He's got a Cockatrice. Okay. Oh, no. He has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Cockatrices. 10 Cockatrices. That's 950 points of cock in there. Atrices. Like, that's a lot of Cockatrices. Which means, ladies and gentlemen, we have to look at what a Cockatrice does. Okay? So what powerful ability was Adam able to bring to bear to defeat his opponents with... That's a huge amount. It's true. Yeah, he's back with the cock blocks. True. So now they've got 8 wounds apiece, and they've got a 6-up save. Whew. Okay. They've got a petrifying gaze attack, and they move 12 inches. A petrifying gaze attack, don't tell that YouTuber from earlier, he would be livid about that. And that petrifying gaze attack is, you do not use the attack sequence for an attack made by this, but on a 4+, they suffer D6 mortal wounds. So on average, he should do, with 10 Cockatrices, 5d6 mortal wounds in the shooting phase, which is amazing. He's also got either 4 attacks with his sword-like talons or 8 attacks if he charges, which are 4s and 4s, rend 1 damage in close combat. But 8 wounds with a 6-up save makes me feel like he really shouldn't have done well. And he's also got the Geminids of Ulguish. Okay. Now, I am going to ask Adam on the show to do a deep dive of this list. But my answer is to how he did well with this is I don't know. He's actually in the chat just said, oh shit, I forgot Geminids, which I think means he forgot to take Geminids. Yeah, right? He forgot to take Geminids. He also beat some pretty incredible players. He beat Mr. Math Mallow in the chat of Sylvaneth fame. He also beat Mr. Dan Arnold, yeah, of Idneth and a bunch of other armies fame, who's amazing, right? He's just telling me in the chat that he left his Geminids in his tent and so wasn't able to do anything with it. But he did have a triple battle regiment, which take him to 3 drops. Actually, it gives me a good opportunity to ask Rob and Ziggy if there's if the drop information is public at the moment, and if it is, if they could put it in the chat. But I do know that having 3 drops in your army means that you've got a 63% chance to get the choice to go first, or more importantly, 63% of the time you'll have a lower drops than your opponent. Basically, triple bat reg is genius. So yeah, incredible work from Adam. 5d6 mortal wounds popping off. Okay, perfect. And then the Dragon Ogres. I wanted list deep dive from him, and I want to know because I don't know how he did it. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, Cocks and Drops. That's the list name. Yeah, it's the Cockatrice list. Cocks and Drops. He's in the chat. He went 5-0. Might be the funniest 5-0 I've ever seen. Like, might be the funniest 5-0 in all of Age of Sigmar, if I'm honest. Knowing him, knowing who he beat, knowing what the list is, yeah, knowing his little face as he gets his trophy for viewing 5-0 with all the Cockatrices. It's pretty peak, I'm not going to lie. I think we could close up shop, is all I'm going to say. And also, this is a great opportunity for everyone based in the US and Australia. Because if the UK were ever giving you shit about how good your lists are or the meta that you play in, just continuously remind them that this list won. here in the UK. Okay? So congratulations to him. All right, so that's our 5-0, and a pretty dramatic 5-0. Let's look at our 4-1s. Dan Arnold, we'll look at him first. So I'm pretty certain Adam beat Dan in the final to get this victory. So let's take a look at what Dan was running. So he was running Lumineth Realm Lords. He was running Severith. He was also running a Hurricane Wind Spirit, who's now a leader, and a Scenari Lawseeker. 20 Wardens, 2 lots of 10 Wardens, and 30 Sentinels with Chronomantic Cogs and the Emerald Life Swarm in a 1-drop battle regiment. And it lost to 10 Cockatrices. Okay. I don't know how he did that. But I know how this list went 4-1, because this is not too dissimilar, obviously, from the 30 Sentinels builds that we've seen previously. I think we've got double Wind Spirit as opposed to triple Wind Spirit, which is what we used to have. It used to be triple Wind Spirit, so they're move-blocking units, or they will be till the new book, where they move forward, they block units from moving forward, they retreat, and then they shoot, if that makes sense. Okay? The fox doesn't like the cocks. It's true. Adam really knows how to handle the cocks. I don't think he realises he's going to be called the Cockmaster forever. And anyway, this is Dan, who's lovely and great and wonderful. The Lawseeker for holding the objective. And he's got 20 Wardens to get pretty fighty. Again, that battle regiment coming into effect. So far we haven't seen either of the Unmatched Conquerors or Bounty Hunters be in effect in these. Aaron Walters. Let's have a look at what Aaron took. Laurie Huggett Wild also went 5-4-1. The Cockmaster beat me to it. Dan outplayed me so hard. Then what happened? I dropped the nutrients. Thank you, Ziggy. Probably just sounds like a cock right in front of my face. Has anyone got pics of all the cocks? Tweet me. Anyway, Aaron Walters was running Magic and Nurgle, Lord Afflictions, Harbinger of Decay, Festus, Orgot Demon Spew, then 5 Putrid Blight Kings, 5 Putrid Blight Kings, 2 units of Puskel Blight Lords, and then 2 Beasts of Nurgle. So he's got a bunch of different battalions, but Expert Conquerors, he's got those 2 units of 5 Putrid Blight Kings. So that is 21 wounds on an objective, but it's 5 models, but they count as 15 models on an objective, which is very, very good, especially because they're units you don't super care about, especially when they've got the Puskel Blight Lords, which are bounty hunter units. They are, which are going to go fight. Now, we saw this do really well last week, and I think we'll continue to see Nurgle really be able to benefit from both of the 2 new battalions. They've got some really good units that are bounty hunter units, specifically like things like Blight Kings, not bounty hunter units, sorry, Unmatched Conquerors, which is where you count as 3 per model for holding an objective. I imagine it's going to be Blight Kings, Plague Bearers, those sorts of things are going to be good for it, whereas Puskel Blight Lords, which are got like a load of damage 1 attacks, all become damage 2 in the right setup. Puskel Blight Lords were already taken in vast numbers previously before this new battle pack, and so I expect to see them go forward. They're hyper efficient for what they do. Yeah. I love how much the chat enjoyed talking about the cocks, so that's fantastic. Huge fan of that. Okay, so that's Aaron Walters. Well done to Aaron. And some Beasts and Nurgle as well, and then Geminids also coming in clutch. A lot of people using Geminids as well, unless you leave them in a 10. But that does mean he's a 10-drop. His army is a 10-drop army, which is quite interesting, and we'll see whether or not that came into effect. Then Laurie. Laurie was running for fuck's sake. I was running a Sylvaneth army in Harvest Boon. Okay. And Harvest Boon, Heartwood, Harvest Boon, where you have Colonel Thunder's battle line. I can't read this when it's like this. That's 9 Seekers list, right? It potentially is, but I need to double check because I can't read it. Right, Warsong Revenant. Who's the general with Spellsinger, so you're able to cast through the woods. Arcane Tome to give it an additional cast, so you can cast even more spell through the woods. And it's got Verdurous Harmony. An Arch Revenant for +1 to wound and +1 attack on Colonel Hunters. Then, there we go. 9 Revenant Seekers. Okay, so this is just going to be very similar. So they get the pre-game move in Harvest Boon, right? And their battle line in Harvest Boon. So Heartwood, Colonel Hunters, Harvest Boon, Revenant Seekers. Okay. So the Seekers and the Lancers get the pre-game 12-inch move. So what he's able to do is obviously pre-game move 12 inches, move their base move, whatever the fuck that is, 14 or 16 inches, but it doesn't matter at that point. Even if it was 12, you'd be moving 24, which is crazy. So you take 9, you charge, you fight, and then you strike and fade away. Yeah, which is the Sylvaneth ability to hit a unit and then retreat effectively. You cast a bunch of spells through the forest, because you're using Spellsinger to do that, so you can cast End of Spells through it, or more importantly, the Warsong Revenant spell, which is an AoE Mortal Wound spell, and you've got the Chronomantic Cogs, so you can re-roll those casts as well, so you're going to be doing some really good stuff. That entire unit of Revenant Seekers also has a banner, which allows you to rally on 5s, which is crazy. They've also got a 6-inch pile-in, as well, so you can get a lot of them into the fight. Hello, Learning Tiny in the chat, and secret ability to bring them back. Yes, so like the ability to bring them back on the rally is really good. So even if they get caught out, even if they get shot, you can rally most of them on a 5-up. So they're as good as what we're seeing in Beast of Chaos at the minute. So you've got the ability to rally these, which is what's effectively helping the Beast of Chaos army be as strong as it is. Then a unit of 25 Tree Revenants, a unit of 5 Tree Revenants and 5 Tree Revenants, and the Revenant Seekers and the Tree Revenants are bounty hunters? No. Hold on. The Revenant Seekers are bounty hunters. There's 2 of those. And then that seems to be the only bounty hunter unit. Oh, no, wait. Sorry. There's also 6 Kurnoth hunters with great bows who are also bounty hunters in this unit as well. So we've also got 6 bows. So very much like what we saw Simon Weekly do. So kind of like a Simon Weekly TM list where it does the same thing, where you just move a unit forward in the first turn, you strike, you shoot 6 bows at someone, you do mortal wounds through a tree, at range, completely uninteractive with your opponent unless they unbind it. Then you shoot 6 bows, don't interact with your opponent unless they do anything. Then you charge in all of your Seekers, fight, kill something, fade away, your opponent doesn't interact. And then either their first or... So then in their first turn, they're like, okay. Okay. Now I'm going to go and interact with you. So like that's kind of how that list works. Some Weekly was doing like very similar thing. And so there you go. So you're seeing that kind of like... What's nice, I think, about the Warsong Revenant, just thinking about it, and I've been thinking about this over the weekend, right? I know. Rob, what else do you do with your life? Other than, obviously, play Battletech a lot, is... I think about these things. And I'm like, you can just... it sounds hilarious. Per sure, it is hilarious. Like, you're effectively just charging in, like... the Warsong Revenant you can just plug and play into your army because it's opportunity cost to do well. Like, because you can super spec into having the Warsong Revenant spell bomb where you also add in a purple sun and you do all that other jazz. But really, you just need the Spell Singer and Arcane Tome. It's 305 points. Like, you can either go all the way in, which you've seen previously, or you could just do this and just fuck around, right? Which is also great, right? So, be careful what you say. I'm archiving this. On the weekend, I took Legion of Blood with +2 casting on my foot vamp, Lord of Cast Purple Fun, and killed a Frost on Stonehorn Bellicor. Let's go, learn, trade, play. Okay, love that. Okay, so then, although, having said this, we've seen lots of Sylvaneth 4-1s, but I don't know if we've seen any Sylvaneth 5-0s yet. Actually, something I need to check. That's just kind of anecdotally in my brain. Mr. Math Mallow! What a human babe he is. And then Mr. Baz Norman Jr., who's also a babe. Also a babe from the Warrior Lodge crew. Nah, none yet. Yeah, no global 5-0s. See, that's pretty hot. That's pretty hot because I do think it's an incredibly good book. And I do think it's got a very high skill floor and a very high skill ceiling. Right? It has the stupidest no teleport battle plan in the pack. Haha, maybe. It had the stupidest no teleport battle plan in the pack. I mean, I'm personally going to put the no teleport battle plan in every pack because fuck you, Sylvaneth players. They're like, haha, what I did on the first turn is I charged 900 to 800 or 900 points of my opponent. Then they couldn't fight me because I teleported away. And I shot them with some bows. And then I cast spells through trees. Multiple spells, don't forget, because it's not like a portal. And my opponent couldn't do anything on the first turn. And they get to say that for 4 games, right? And that's all you need. 4 games is a lot. That's 80% of your game time. You get to say it. That feels like a lot. I feel that feels like enough. Okay, and on the 5th game, you get to be like, oh, I couldn't teleport, and then you're like, so sad. Mr. Mathmallow, Sylvaneth. Season is the reaping, so that extends the range by 12 inches. Let's hope. And then, by the way, I think this is the very first time I've ever seen someone actually put what the season is on their list. So shout out to Mathmallow for that. And then he's in Dreadwood. Okay, so this is you're allowed to teleport an additional unit of Spite Revenants through the trees, and you get to fight and fade with an additional unit of Spite Revenants. So I expect to see a unit of 15 or 30. Do they come in 10s? 15 or 30 Spite Revenants, whichever ones, right? Once per battle. That's all I need to know. Once per battle's fine. That's all you need. Alariel, fucking lol. Arch Revenant, +1 to wound aura, Arcane Tome. 10 Spite Revenants. Okay, so only 10, so not 20. 2 units of 5 Tree Revenants. 6 Colonel Hunters with Great Bows and 3 Aether Wings. Spite Swarm Hive for +3 to charge and move and cogs. And then the Arch Revenant with Virtuous Harmony. Okay. And then Great Bows. Okay, so this does the same thing, right? Teleports in, teleports away, shoots with the bows, reroll casts, right? What event was this? You'd be forgiven for thinking it was a Sylvaneth only event, but there we go. Right. So that's pretty interesting. Again, those teleports, literally my 2019 list. But really fun. Little Aether Wings in there for clutch. Chronomantic Cogs for reroll cast, which is obviously amazing on the Arch Revenant and Alariel as well. The Arch Revenant, +1 to wound aura and +1 attack command ability in conjunction with then becoming a wizard with Virtuous Harmony is pretty nice, which is return a Kurnoth Hunter model. I'm pretty certain. Virtuous Harmony as a spell. So this was the Shropshire Slaughter. And then Baz. What did Baz take? Daughters of Cain. Wanted more for the means 4+ spelling more from the Archrev. Okay, thank you. And then Daughters of Cain. Calibron, so he gets to teleport a unit. Here, Marathi Cain, an Iron Scale. Will this be the time when I remember the difference between Bloodstalkers and Blood Sisters? Not this day. Bloodstalkers are the shooters. Come on, Rob. Yes or no? Today is not that day. It's one of the two. He's got 2 units of. He also he's got. he's either got 10 bow snakes and 5 bow snakes, and then 15 fighty snakes, or the other way around. One of the two. And then he's got a unit of Shadow Stonkers. Shadow Stonkers for 150 points now. Wow. WhatsApp lists are the best. Snipers stalk their prey. I thought snipers stalk their prey, but I got that wrong. I think I've gone before. So okay, so he's got 15 bow snakes. Okay, this event is just memes. And then he's got a heart render. And then he's got his bounty hunter units are the fighting snakes, so the Blood Sisters. So a unit of 10 and a unit of 5. Okay, he had 15 bow snakes. Okay, perfect. All right, so it's Marathi and the bow snakes with some fighty snakes. Gotta say, I'm actually a big fan of Baz doing this. I've seen a bunch of people pushing fighty snakes around, including last week where we saw someone with a bunch of fighty snakes go so. But I think it's always about what's interesting about these armies, and I feel like this is the right one, Calibron. So this is teleport. So if you don't know, for some reason, first time you're choosing the stat center, Marathi Cain can only take 3 wounds per player turn. So it can take a while to die. Millisite Iron Scale, being the general, makes these units battle line, which is really nice. They are all Galician veterans, so you've got the opportunity to also do Galician veteran battle tactics in addition as well, which is quite nice. I feel like that they might struggle on doing battle tactics, but then they don't, because if you look at the Shadow Stalkers and Heart Renders, that means they get automatic 2 battle tactics. In my opinion, you get bars to enemy lines, which is dropping your opponent's deployment, and also desecrate their lands, which is grab an objective. And I feel like anyone that can include those, although Baz has spent a lot of points to do that, right? He spent 245 points to be able to achieve that aim, and I think he should be super proud of himself for that. But that's 4 battle tactics in conjunction with against all the odds. That's 3 battle tactics you haven't even had to think, and then 4th battle tactics. So the idea that battle tactics are tough to do actually isn't overly true. And really what comes in key is that 5th battle tactic, which is, because obviously you do eye for an eye for the 4th, and that 5th battle tactic is the really tough one where you're like, am I going to do the Galician Veterans one? And that can become pretty key, in my opinion. The world tour continues. Marathi and the Bow Snakes, you can't stop them. But shout out, isn't true if you have easy book ones. Yeah, but you should just ban book and battle tactics and grand strategies from events. That's what I'll do in my events. Anyway, so that was the Shropshire Slaughter. Congratulations to all of them. I mean, they're all very well-known people. Baz plays loads. Baz has probably in the past year played... I've seen Baz's face and seen Baz at many events, and a big shout out to Baz. He's definitely someone to watch in the future for top table 5-0s at a bunch of different events. I mean, Matt Mallon needs no introduction, but he's a babe. Laurie, obviously a part of Team England. Aaron Walters from Purple Sparkly Unicorns. I'm not sure if I know Aaron. And Aaron, if I do know you, I'm super sorry. And we should hang out one time. Then Dan Arnold and Adam Mumford don't need any introduction. Team Wales and Adam Mumford, part of Team Lit. But I like to think he's one of my friends too. So all great human beings. And look like a really great event. Next event we're looking at is the Boise Cup. B-O-I-S-E, Boise Cup. So I hope I got this right in 2020. Now, it was won by Mr. Jeremy Vaseri. Vaseri? I always get this wrong. Jeremy's a lovely, wonderful person, part of the American Age of Sigmar team for AOS Worlds. And he's got an amazingly cool list. He also went 5-0 last week with Kharadron Overlords. So this is back-to-back 5-0s for Jeremy, with 2 different factions, which is pretty incredible. Or he did it the week before, one of the ones. He's also the AOS Worlds Commissioner. Okay, so he's also the AOS Worlds Commissioner. So he's I'm not saying Jeremy is quintessentially everything to do with Age of Sigmar, but he's very close right now. Yeah, and he's got an amazingly wicked list that he's played, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then in second place, but also on a 5-0, so both these 2 players on a 5-0, is Dustin Chesma. Right, let's talk about, we'll do Dustin's list first, really quickly. He's got Lumineth Realm Lords in Zytrek. He's got Severith, which is everything Severith does. He move blocks, shoots, kills characters really effectively. Cathalar, a Lore Seeker, which is great for holding objectives, but most importantly, he's got Lambent Light, which is a spell that you can cast because you can, pre-game, post-deployment, deploy the Lore Seeker, which means you can cast Lambent Light on a unit, and then your 30 Sentinels, which are in this list, are able to then reroll their to hits, meaning their mortal wounds on 5s to hit becomes 5-up rerollable mortal wounds, which is very, very effective. So they can do loads and loads of damage. He's got 2 units of 10 Wardens, and then he's got 2 units of the not very often seen Dawn Riders. So he's 2 units of 5 Dawn Riders in his list, and they're both in the Bounty Hunters battalion. And this is quite good because they get a load of extra attacks, especially into infantry, and having those loads of extra attacks and then doubling up so that it becomes damage 2 when going into Galician Veterans unit means you're taking a unit that already works well into infantry and you're doubling its effectiveness. I really like that. That's like a hyper efficient pick. If you don't happen to go into something that does have those things, then you're in a bit of a problem. Then you're a bit of a problem situation. But I think that's genuinely very exciting and I like it. So shout out to him. Jeremy's list though is super exciting, specifically because I haven't seen this version of the list. There has been people trying to do things like this in the past, but this list is amazing for a bunch of different reasons, right? Legion of Blood, and the Twitch chat helped me out with a bunch of this. Legion of Blood means that if any units run away within maybe 12 inches, then an additional D3 models from the unit run away. That list had the Light of Altharion too. Yeah, you're right, sorry. The Lumineth list also had the Light of Altharion, which you never see, which is quite fun. Imagine a mini Gotrek It's quite a fun little inclusion in the list. I'm sorry, I should have pointed that out. Yeah, sorry, within 3 inches of a vampire. So if you're within 3 inches of a vampire, then D3 additional units run away. Right, not units, D3 additional models run away. Okay, and that works in conjunction with Horrorghast. So Horrorghast is units within or wholly within, depending on if you read the app or if you read your GHB. In the GHB, it's within. In the app, it's wholly within. I'll let people decide what the actual answer is. You cannot use Inspiring Presence, and D3 additional models run away if you fail a Battleshot test, which means 2D3 run away, yeah, which is hot. 2D3 run away. So I really like that. Now, some other little tech that goes in here as well is 2 units of Black Knights and a unit of Death Rattle Skeletons. The Black Knights are quite fast in kind of Age of Sigmar terms, not super fast. And they've got a aura. The battle trait for Soulblight Gravelords is if you end up within 6 inches of any Death Rattle models and zombies and dogs, basically, then you're -1 to your bravery, which can stack. So you could easily get those 2 Black Knight units up and in people's faces, making them -2 bravery. Means if they fail their Battleshot tests, then they're already at bravery -2 and 2d3 more run away, which is pretty good. Very, very nice, especially into elite units, which probably the conclusion of today's show is going to be that maybe we're seeing a lot of Death Stars, and actually this is quite a nice little play into Death Stars. Now, in conjunction with that, he's got Neferata, who's a pretty good spellcaster, but most importantly, has got a really good spell, which means that you ignore negative modifiers to your save. He's got a unit of 10 Blood Knights, so that's going to be 30 wounds. But those Blood Knights have got a 3-up armor save. So if you cast Mystic Shield on them and Neferata's spell, that means they're going to have a 2-up unrendable save. 2-up unrendable save, which is great. He's then also got 20 Graveguard, and the Blood Knights and the Graveguard are both in Bounty Hunters, so if they do happen to fight something really scary, and don't forget the Blood Knights are also vampires as well, if he does happen to fight anything super scary, those Graveguard will do some pretty good job at fighting them, as will the Blood Knights. So there's lots of. He's also got Vampire Lord with Master of Magic, and because of the White Dwarf update, has got +2 to cast. And then with an Arcane Tome means that you have got an additional cast, and then you're re-rolling those casts because of Master of Magic. He's then got also a Levitate as a spell, meaning you can have some Flying Blood Knights, and he's also got the Purple Sun and Chronomantic Cog. So re-roll casts on all your wizards is really good, and the Purple Sun for auto-slaying something or adding red into your army is good. So loads of tricks and plays in his army for dealing mortal wounds when they charge in with the Black Knights or move with the Blood Knights. Unrendable Blood Knights, really effective. Graveguard doing some really great damage. Black Knights for screening and or for bravery debuffs. And then he's got that double bravery debuff in there as well, which I think is super exciting. Like, this is, again, one of those inspirational lists. So this is like 2 for 2 now. Swaggy Shadow Sword with his Ossiarch Bone Reapers, and then Jeremy with this list, I think is really inspiring. Again, watching someone who knows how to play Tabletop Warhammer really, really well, using something that's got lots of moving parts in its list to do some really good stuff, which is very different to a lot of like blunt trauma lists that we saw in a bunch of the other like playstyles or versions of Age of Sigmar in the past. So really excited by that, and both players should be super happy with their 5-0s, so well done to them. Okay, so in the 4-1 bracket, Matt Beasley was running a Host of Slanesh Lurid Invaders host list. Now, Matt was running a list very similar to what Anthony Trenton Early was running, and I know that they're friends and they talk a lot across the world, West Coast, East Coast rivalry there, but he was running Sigval, the Blade Seeker, the Contorted Epitome, the 50 Blissbarb Archers. I think he also, let me just double check, he did have that Kronspine Incarnate as well. He didn't have Geminids, but instead he had the Purple Sun and the Burning Head, which I think Anthony took took Geminids instead. And then he's got those 2 units of 5 Centaurs as screening units as well, which I think is really cool and fun. Kyle Callip has got a Scarlet Doom Nighthorn army, which was a Night Shrouds and Ethereal Seed, Krulgas Cruciator, Spirit Torment, Guiding Souls, Kurdos, and Reikenor, leading us to go on a deep dive on what Reikenor brought to the table for 190 points. If you are listening to this back, Kyle, I would love you to reach out. You can leave some comments in the YouTube, obviously, as well. Just let us know what Reikenor did and why you had him in there. Pretty certain it's for the +3 to cast cogs, which the Endless Spell Chronomantic Cogs, which gives you reroll charges, which is obviously super important for Nighthaunt armies as well. He's then got Blade Geist Revenants, a unit of 20, so they're going to be able to do mortal wounds in charge. Spirit Hosts, Kurdos Valentine's going to do some pretty decent fighting as well. He's a bit of a slapper. He's then got 1 Corpse Cart with Balefire Brazier and 2 units of Mimron Banshees. So he's really shutting down a lot of the opposing magic because they're great at being able to stop magic. So that's a pretty interesting list. The Stormcast Eternals list that was being run by, let me just double check, by Tom Guan was just an old school list, just changed up. My co-commentator for Summer Slaughter, Mr. Tom Guan, little treasure that he is. Lord Relictor with Teleport, obviously, and an Arcane Tome. Then a Battle Mage for +2 to cast, a unit of 4 Fulminators, 5 Liberators, 10 Protectors. There's 2 up save, 3 inch reach, 41 attacks, 2s and 2s if you get Celestial Blades off. Really, really good. Double Battle Regiment, so he's got 2 drop, then he's got 6 Vanguard Raptors with Long Strike Crossbows, but in 2 units of 3, and then 2 units of 3 Ether Wings as well. So he only lost in the final round with that, so his T-Whip was pretty good. Carcassay, thanks for subscribing in the chat. Then we got Alexander Gonzalez with his Scarlet Doom Nighthaunt, which had a lot more Blade Geist Revenants. I think he was up to 60 or 70 Blade Geist Revenants, so doing mortal wounds and fighting away like a good guy there. James Marriott with his Iron Jaws Goon Squad had some Brutes as battle line, and he had 2 units, a unit of 6 pigs, 2 units of 3 pigs in Bounty Hunters, as well as and then your classic Maw Crusher 2 War Chanter combo. But in addition, also had himself a Weird Knob, which you don't generally tend to see. But he had Master of Magic and he had the Teleport as well, which I think is quite nice in his list. Jared Brown had Lumineth Realm Lords list, and I think again this was our 1-drop. But he had some pretty fun stuff in there. Tech list is back, baby, with Umbral Spell Portal, but don't forget he's also got that Spell Ignore aura, which is incredibly useful for Lumineth Realm Lords, especially into a heavy magic meta. Purple Sun and the Rune of Petrification, which is also a really nice piece of tech for doing even more mortal wounds in AoE. So AoE mortal wounds from the Technado, AoE mortal wounds from the Rune of Petrification, some Dawn Riders, and then 30 Sentinels, which I like as well, along with a Wind Mage. Then we had a Kharadron Overlords list as well. Now, Kharadron Overlords are also back as an army in a really big way. Kharadron Overlords super back. So expect to see more and more of them, whether or not you love it or don't love it. An Aether Chemist, a Navigator twice, and then an Admiral. And then he's got 3 lots of 10 Arcanaut Company, and then an Ironclad, 2 Frigates, 2 Gun Haulers, and again the Rune of Petrification going inside the Spell in a Bottle, which is a 6-inch aura. Roll a 4-up for anyone that begins the movement phase or ends the movement phase in that, and on a 4-up they take D3 mortal wounds, which at turn 1, when you're blocking your opponent in and you're making it so they don't get to move very far, that could be a lot of mortal wounds into your opponent's army, which I personally find quite scary. So that's really fun. I like that tech as well. Then you've got Matt Barker. Matt is a pretty famous Nurgle player. Oh, no, sorry, not Margot. Matt, sorry. Apologise about that. But he's also a good Nurgle player, but he didn't go 4-1. And then Michael Corbett with Sylvaneth to round us off. Had a Lariel, a Warsong Revenant, 2 lots of 10 Dryads, a unit of 5 Tree Revenants, and then 6 Kurnoth Hunters with Scythes, all in the Gnarl route, so he's got the ability to do lots of spellcasting there. I don't think I've lost anything there. There's got to be something else in this list. No, apparently that's it. That's everything in the list as well. So congratulations to everyone, all those players that went 4-1. You should be super happy, and I hope the event in Boise goes from strength to strength. Shout out to everyone there. Heading over to Maryland, and Baltimore was the Peace Through DACA AOS won by Emma Mangles, a member of Team USA, an incredibly good wargamer and one of my favourite sassy Twitter posters. So shout out to Emma, even if sometimes I'm the subject of those sassy tweets. It doesn't bother me. I always think, bring it on. So Emma was running, let me just find the list. A list she did really well with that World. She was playing lots of flyers. So Blobe Rotspawn, it wasn't the same list, by the way. Blobe, Festus, Lord of Afflictions with Overpowering Extension, Splithorn Helm, 4 Puskill Blight Lords, and 4 times 2 Puskill Blight Lords in the pre-game move. Now, all in Battle Reg, none in Bounty Hunters. There's an interesting conversation can be had here. We've been crunching the numbers at the TSN Stat Center, so Rob and Ziggy specifically, and we've worked out that if you have a Battle Regiment, you get the choice to go first 80% of the time. That's 8-0. Pretty impressive. So I can completely understand why you don't want to drop down to if you have 2, 3, or 4 drops, it goes to 67% of the time, right? So not quite as effective. And I can completely understand. The Bear 09. That's a great suggestion. I can completely understand why she's chosen to go for Battle Regiment 100%. Oh, it's 85%. Sorry, 85% on a Battle Reg. 85 on a Battle Reg, so a 1 drop versus dropping down to a 67%. However, I still think there's also this exact list, but maybe you get some Bounty Hunters in there as well. But what do I know? Emma's played this list at Worlds and also at this event for a 5-0, so it's a lot more effective. How does the list work? I've talked about this a lot before in the past, but just very quickly, it's got a pre-game move on lots of the units, specifically the Puskill Blight Lords, because they're playing in Drowned Men. Move them forward, then they move themselves, they fight your entire army, they tie your entire army up. Each unit of 2 is 16 wounds with a 4-up armor save and a 5-up ward. It takes so much damage to get rid of them. They have 11 attacks each per fly, so that's the rider and the flyer themselves. So even a unit of 2 is doing 22 attacks, which is plenty to get enough disease points on the opposing army and be able to shut them down. Lord of Affliction's got Overpowering Stench, so he turns off command abilities being issued and denied in at 7 to 9 inch range. Issued and received, sorry. And then Splithorn Helm, I think, is the 4-up ward save on the Lord of Afflictions. And then Blobe is just a really solid character, and Festus is in there as well. So pretty good. I like this is a very good list played by a very good army, and so a huge shout out to Emma for doing really well. I like the note she's left. Oops, I did it again. Too busy painting a friend's MSBG army to do something new. This is fine. And then our other 2 lists that went 4-1. Alex Hamilton with a Sylvaneth Gnarlroot list, and then Ray Charnock with an Ironjaw's Bloodtooth list. So the Sylvaneth list had a Lariel and a Warsong Revenant using the Spellsinger ability to cast spells through trees, and also had the Arcane Tome for an additional cast. A unit of 2 Dryads, 2 units of 5 True Revenants, one of them being Bounty Hunters, and a unit of 6 Spite Rider Lancers in Bounty Hunters. And then for spells, has got the Spite Swarm High for that +3 to charge and move, and also the Purple Sun for the additional rend, and also the ability to kill the opponent. We have had a quote that anything the Spite Rider Lancers charged, they did delete, and that's because if you use Tree Song, which is a spell to reduce saves by or add rend, whichever one of the 2 it is, to enemy units in range, means that you add +1 rend basically to the Spite Rider Lancers, and if the enemy is in nearby the Purple Sun, that's an additional -1 to their save. So you effectively, even though some of them are minor saves, you have either rend 4 or rend 3 on those Spite Rider Lancers, which is pretty amazing in my opinion. So some really good output there. And then the Uruk War Clans list was a Mega Boss and War Crusher twice, so 2 of them, then 2 War Chanters, then 3 Gore Grunters, and 6 Gore Grunters, and 5 Brutes. Again, a battle regiment. I think, ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing a bit of a theme here with that battle regiment. So shout out to everyone at that event, and well done for doing super well. Next Age of Sigmar event we're looking at is Armed Forces Day 5. Now, I'm not exactly sure where this was in the world, but Mordaka, when he subscribed in the chat earlier, did point out in Australia there's an Armed Forces Wargaming Association that runs a couple of big tournaments each year to raise for Legacy. Legacy is a charity for families of deceased veterans. There's lots of people in the Armed Forces who are into it. Near Chicago, Lockport, Illinois. Thank you very much. So shout out to everyone there. The event was won, and the only 5-0 that we've got is Alan Badromovic. If I've said that wrong, I'm really sorry, Alan. But Alan was running Stormcast Eternals. He had Guard of Steel Soul, which is a 5-up ward save aura around any other Hallowed Knight units, which will be all of the other Hallowed 9 units. He's also got a Lord Relictor, who's got the High Priest, which means he's re-rolling his 2-up relocation spell, and he's also got the Arcane Tome, which has got Celestial Blades, which is +1 to wound. He's got 3 units of 5 Liberators, and then he's got 2 units of 4 Stormdrake Guard, all in a battle regiment, and 2,000 points on the nose, which I think is fantastic. What's good about Gardas is he can drop down, so the dragons can move, and then he can drop down and give that 5-up ward aura, which is really nice. So then those dragons become even more survivable in combat, which I think is a really, really fun little play. Now, in second place is Jonathan Anderson with the Lumineth Realm Lords list, which is quite fun. A Cathalar, a Teclis, a Stone Mage, then 5 Blade Lords, 20 Wardens, another 20 Wardens, and then 5 Dawn Riders with the Umbral Spell Portal, Horrorghast, and Purple Sun. We did talk about this earlier off air, but I'm almost certain he did some -2 Bravery, Technado, Horrorghast, Runaway shenanigans, which I think is really fun. And obviously he's got the Purple Sun as well to be able to do some really fun tricks in there as well. Teclis is back, baby. Teclis is back. So well done to him. Cheryl Kucharski, they were running a Daughters of Cain Hagnar list. Marathi, Cain, the High Gladiatrix, then 2 units of 20 Witch Elves, 10 Sisters of Slaughter, and then a Bloodrat Viper. In addition, there were 2 units of Heartrenders and 10 Blood Stalkers, so that's the Bow Snakes. So not quite Marathi and the Bow Snakes, Marathi and some Bow Snakes, but then also a nice little conjunction of the Gladiatrix and the 2 units of 20 Witch Elves. Oh, this is Alan Pajama Pants Alan in first place. Oh, I really like that guy. Shout out to Alan in first place. So yeah, again, this is a really fun list because it's Marathi and the Bow Snakes, but there's more in it as well, especially with the Witch Elves and the High Gladiatrix. Right. And then Sylvaneth, run by Joseph Triesenberg, was running Alariel, Lady of Vines, Spirit of Durthu, 20 Dryads, 10 Dryads, and then 10 Tree Revs. A lot to be said about everything we've seen with the teleporting fighting, but we did hear from the chat that he was using the Lady of Vines and the Dryads for a really fun little combo, because Dryads count as being near a forest when they're near the Lady of Vines, and the Lady of Vines has a 5-up ward aura. That means that the 20 wounds that you get for 200 points in Dryads, a -1 to hit and -1 to wound because they're near the Lady of Vines, with a 5-up ward, and obviously you can stick Mystic Shield on and also all-out defense. So you can have a 4-up, ignoring Rend 1, 5-up ward, -1 to hit, -1 to wound unit of Dryads, which I think is actually really nice on a 32 mil base. So they've got like a nice, like, broad, like, aura, like a broad line, which I think is fun, and like I think that's really fun. That's a nice bit of tech in there as well, which I really like, so I like that. I think the teleporting stuff is still strong, but you know, he went 4-1 with that, and I think that's fun as well. BC Chaos went 4-1 as well, being run by William Stanford. William had now a list I just don't understand. Like, I would say some of the strengths at the minute of Beasts of Chaos is the fact that they can get a lot of wounds in units that you can really, like, reinforce a lot so that you can rally them. And then instead, he's gone for an army of min MSU Beasts of Chaos. But he obviously has done really well, went 4-1. So he's got a Great Brave Shaman 3 times with a range of spells, and then a Doom Bull in his list as well. Then he's got 2 units of 10 Gore, 2 units of Bestigor, 3 units of Bestigor, 2 units of Ungor for those pre-game move, Crunchspine Incarnate of Gur, a Cygor, a Gorgon, and then 2 units of minimum Bulgor, right? It's just nuts. Just nuts. Like, I don't know how this worked. I'd love him to do a write-up on the Honest Wargamer. You can make your own account. It's free. You don't get any adverts. There's nothing like that on there. Then you just, like, write out the lists, and do all that other jazz, and then you write how it works, because this one is one of those really interesting ones, where it's stuff I've seen before. Thank you, Scrivo. I'll link it in the show notes as well. Anyway. Then we also had a Tzeentch list. We had Kairos, Changecaster, Lord of Change, and a Magister. This was being run by John Oetting. Shout out to John. That Magister will become important in a moment. We'll talk about that. Then he's got 3 lots of 10 Carrick Acolytes and the Kronspine Incarnate of Gur, Umbral Spell Portal, and the Chronomantic Cogs. Chronomantic Cogs pretty important in this army as well because it gives him reroll casts. It gives him reroll casts for his spellcasting. Obviously, you can generate fate points for this army as well. The key part here is Host Arcanum, so D3 units or pre-game move. He can summon a unit of 6 Sky Sharks as well, so those Screamers of Tzeentch. But I would say the bit that's kind of fun about this is the Magister can kill himself by using Destiny Dice to cast his spells. If he rolls 2 doubles in a row, he'll die, and you can choose the results of the spellcasting with Destiny Dice. Once you've done that, the Magister, and obviously, then the Kronspine Incarnate becomes wild, and you can eat your own Umbral Spell Portal at range, which means your opponent's going to have to deal with a level 3 Incarnate right at the beginning of the game, which I think is fun. So I'm a big fan of that. And then the final, our final 5-0, 4-1 is Mike Draft with a Legion of the First Prince list. He has Slobjid Barpiper and a Lord of Change. Normally that Lord of Change is a Kairos, so again, that's a really interesting build. Would love to write him up. A safe start as Demon Prince with Mark of Khorne for that Bloodstick Ground, can't charge me aura within 18 inches. Or it halves your charge range. Doesn't necessarily do anything else. It doesn't stop you from charging. And then the Bloodthirster of Incensant Rage for all of the booms and doing lots of damage. 10 Blood Letters, 20 Plague Bearers, 5 Fleshhounds, Soulsare Shackles, and then 3 units of 3 Nurglings and 6 Furies. I quite like the Nurglings because, again, they're really good at being able to achieve battle tactics early game. He's going to be able to get bars through enemy lines and also desecrate their land with those Nurglings, and I think that's really fun, which means he doesn't have to be overly aggressive to try and achieve battle tactics, which is good for his army as it doesn't necessarily have lots of output unless the Bloodthirster and Incensant Rage does lots of damage. So that's everything from that event. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. Congratulations to everyone, especially Alan. So I did miss an event last weekend, so this is the final event we're going to be looking at today, and then I'm going to wrap up with my thoughts on Age of Sigmar at the moment. Now, this was an event in Gothenburg in Sweden, and it was won by Theo Papa Christodoulou. Yeah? Theo Papa Christodoulou. Absolutely not a problem. But doing it in Swedish, hörde want a pancake. Theo Papa Christodoulou. There we go. Now I've said it in Swedish as well. Theo Papa Christodoulou. Absolutely nailed it, right? That was Indian. No, it was not. Right, so he was rated Thunder Lizard Seraphon with a Slan Star Master, a Saurus Ashcroft Banner Bearer, 2 Skink Priests, Engine of the Gods, Stegodon with Stink Chief, 5 Saurus Guard, 2 lots of 10 Skinks, 2 Bastiladons with Solar Engine, and the Purple Son of Sheesh. Okay, so lots to talk about with this, because some people may not have listened into these shows before, but Seraphon, an incredibly effective army. They had a change when we went into the Galette Battle Pack, in that our 2 lots of 10 Skinks, which is the only change, are now not -1 damage. So this is where you've got command ability to shoot a unit twice, so the Bastiladon with Solar Engine, or it's going to be our Engine of the Gods. Let's double up on that. -1 damage into all of the units apart from the Skinks to a minimum of 1. Super effective. Also +1 attack on jaw attacks, which we don't talk about enough, which is actually very, very, very good. The Slan, instead of Croak, is pretty cool, but its ability to do mortal wounds at range is super, super important. And the Skink Priests have just got so much good utility that they bring, especially heal. But the winner, in my opinion, has got to be the Engine of the Gods. Now Theo Papa Christodoulou did not, did not buff him up as I expected. Instead, he's done it on this. So the Command Trait Prime War Beast and the Mount Trait Beastmaster you often see on the Engine of the Gods. So it becomes this like huge kind of investment. It's a combat piece. It's a buff piece. It's a summoning piece for 265 points. But he's gone for that on a Stegodon with Skink Chief as well, which I really like, because he's also added the Cloak of Feathers, which means it flies and add +1, which means it can do some huge damage. Also means when you're doing target priority, You don't know whether to choose the Engine of the Gods or staying on with Cheek and Chief. And while you're spending all your time deciding on which one of those two to go for, the Slan is casting loads of spells, including Purple Sun, and the Bastillons are shooting at your face, right? Also, yeah, he's got a reroll on the Slan with +3 to cast is also very, very tasty. Yeah, and I forgot to mention the Ashloth Bannerbearer, which gives them +1 to cast and 6 inches to spell auras, spell ranges, which is also super effective when you're casting this good old Purple Sun of Sheesh. And also that Rend is going to be really nice. Casting the Purple Sun into the opposing army, so the Bastillons are Rend 2 effectively, is really good because it reduces your armor save by 1, is what it's doing for units within 6 inches. I like that. That's really fun. Now, we've only got 1 4-1. Am I right in saying that? Because it's only got 80 points, which will be Konstantinos Kellis, who was running an Iron Death Deepkin list in Iron Rack. Our first one we read this week. That's nice. An Achillean King with Unstoppable Fury, and the Armor of Sintai, and then a Void Chill Darkness. So he's going for all the damage there, but also a bit of survivability. He's got the Aspect of the Sea, which is a spellcaster, with the Arcane Tome to give him an additional cast, with Steed of Tides for a teleport, which means we're going to get the Purple Sun. Teleport, do a Purple Sun, with Master of Magic for the reroll. Amazing stuff on the Eidolon there. Then he's got the Soul Scryer, so he's going to be able to activate the Tides. Then 6 Morsar Guard, 3 defensive heals in the Ishlen Guard, 20 Reavers, 1 Alapex, and then 5 Tree Revenants for a cheeky ally, which actually is a really good ally, especially if you, again, achieving those battle tactics. This is fun. I like this a lot. This is nice and different as well. Like, it's different enough from what I've seen from Iron Death Deepkin list. It's like a mixed bag, right? 20 Reavers, mixed bag. 1 Alapex, mixed bag. Like, this is fun. This is Constantine, yeah. The current Swedish master of AOS, Constantine, with his list. And you can tell because he doesn't have very... Like, this isn't an army that plays itself. He obviously has got tricks. The Killing King's going to fight murder stuff. The Mathlan is going to drop a Purple Sun in your army. He's going to shoot you a lot with 40 shots from the Reavers, with Rend 2 effectively, thanks to the Purple Sun. The Achillean Alapex is going to shoot with additional Rend. Revenants for scoring battle tactics. Morsar Guard for fighting, and these guys. So lovely list. Love that as well. So that's everything. Okay. Let's talk about what I think I've taken away from this week. Wow. I actually think quite a lot in Age of Sigmar terms. The rise of Teclis coming back makes a lot of sense. Teclis is a great anti-caster. He's a great caster in of himself and also a great anti-caster. So as we see Magic rise, more anti-casts make lots of sense. I think that's really interesting as well. Battalions-wise, Donaldinho, thanks for resubscribing, and hello. Battalions-wise, we still have the rise and rise and rise and rise of the 1-drop battalion battle regiment. Unsurprised to see that still doing very, very well. Although obviously there were other battalions that did okay, but overwhelmingly, I think we saw battle regiment be pretty key in lots of these games. So love that. Even double battle regiment with the 10 cockatrice list. So anti-magic, really, really high and really coming into its own. I think is an interesting one. The other bit that is huge, the kind of big takeaway, I think, personally, for me, is we've also seen the rise over the past few weeks of Death Star units. 9 Lancers, or the other ones, whatever they are, in a unit. 9 Colonel Hunters. 500 point or more units. Storm Fiends. There is a lot of units that are 500 points or more. 30 Sentinels seem to be back. They're 500 points or more. Like big blocks, big units. Now, this is really important and really interesting because that also means that Be'lakor Stonks are on the rise. It's just what army do you put Be'lakor into, I think, is the key point. The ability for Be'lakor to shut down anything in the game at the moment, especially all those big 500 point or more units, just name the ones you want to name, I think is really, really interesting. So Be'lakor Stonks on the rise, so if you're a Chaos player, you've got to be pretty happy about that. Bravery debuff armies on the rise, using Horrorghast and some other stuff. So that's been pretty fun as well. Overall, a very interesting week in the meta. Very, very interesting week. Like debuffs, control, interesting game at the moment. Lots to talk about in Age of Sigmar still. So I hope you've enjoyed this show. We'll be back next week. I will be doing some list tech shows this week. I do have a new format for trying to do them. I'm away in Canada in 2 weeks, and I've just come back from an event, and I have an event this weekend, so I'm trying to fit that in. But do keep your eyes peeled on our YouTube and our podcast feed for those. If you've enjoyed the show, please do like and subscribe, and you can support the Honest Wargamer on Patreon because we don't take any sponsorship or anything like that, which is obviously really stupid based on everything I've done market research for now. But if you would like to support the show on Patreon, that'd be great. If you listen to the podcast, stay hydrated. And if you're watching this live on Twitch, thanks for hanging out with me and helping me deep dive these lists. Loads of love, and see you soon.